Good morning. I welcome you as we gather now with the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 8, beginning with the 18th verse. My joy is gone, grief is upon me, my heart is sick. Hark, the cry of my poor people from far and wide in the land. Is the Lord not in Zion? Is her king not in her? The harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. For the hurt of my poor people I am hurt. I mourn, and dismay has taken hold of me. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then has the health of my poor people not been restored? Oh, that my head were a spring of water, and my eyes a fountain of tears, so that I might weep day and night for the slain of my poor people. I grew up on a farm where the Savannah-Atlanta Railroad cut across the land. In the early 20th century, there was a train stop in what was called Lorenzo. It was a brief stop, as it was a small community. If there had been a marker for the town limits, the signs declaring Lorenzo would have been nailed on either side of the same post. When I lived there, there was no platform, no train stop, and they finally took Lorenzo, population 6, off the state maps. The freight trains came through, sometimes pitching pieces of pulpwood, tumbling off of cars to land in the ditch alongside the rail. We sometimes cut them up and burned them in our fireplace. The Nancy Hanks passenger train still came through when I was a small child. It would only stop if you flagged it down. As it crept through my hometown, I remember my father stepping up and waving a handkerchief to tell the engineer my mother needed a ride to Atlanta. The better part of that was listening for the train on the day she came home. One of the ways I whiled away my childhood was walking the rails. I would balance myself at the crossing and walk as far as possible until I lost my balance, lost my interest, or something in the woods distracted me. My cousins and I would place pennies on the rails and then listen for the approach. We knelt down and placed our ears on the rails like cowboys and Indians did in episodes of Gunsmoke. "It's coming!" one of us would yell, and we piled off of the tracks and watched to see if the passing cars would flip the now flattened pennies off into the ditch, glistening as they sometimes sailed past our wide eyes. 4 to 5 trains passed during the day. 4 to 5 passed in the night. My home was 100 feet off the rails. My grandparents' home was 50 feet off the rails, and because it was up on pillars, would shake up and down as the trains passed. They say you can get used to anything. I know you can get used to trains. Family and friends visiting the farm would come down to breakfast and say, "Did you hear those 4 trains last night?" We would smile and say, "Nope." We never even rolled over when they rolled through the farm. They say you can get used to anything. Noises, smells, feelings, especially feelings. We can carry feelings for so long we swear that such is normal. Happiness, yes, but also feelings of hurt, feelings of self-deprecation, feelings of being less than others, feelings of anger, feelings of sadness, feelings of depression. After a while, it can all seem normal, that this is all there is to life. We can carry feelings like a friend once carried his cataracts. When he had surgery to remove them, he became animated. "Wow, look at this. There's all kinds of colors on the leaves right now. I'd forgotten what that was like." Then he got hearing aids. He told me there's a whole world of conversations and sounds I'd been missing and never knew it. I took conversation and music for granted when I was young. Then I took it for granted that there wasn't as much of this to enjoy and never would be again. With these new hearing aids, now I'm reminded how wonderful it can be to join in conversations and listen to music. We can get used to just about anything, even the things that are less than healthy. Nobody understood this any more than Jeremiah. Jeremiah was a reluctant prophet, but he had a gift for hearing God in the everydayness of life. Listen to your life. See it for the fathomless mystery that it is. Touch, taste, smell your way to the hidden heart of it. Jeremiah lived these words. He felt them. The joy and the pain of being aware. When we hear the word prophet, we may think of someone who delights in hard preaching and scolding people. But there is no other prophet in the Bible like Jeremiah for wrestling with his understanding of God. He criticized the nations, including Judah. But nations are not things on a map. They are people. And Jeremiah felt for the people, worried over them, wept because of them. It pained him to tap them on the shoulder and say, the way you're living, the way you're ignoring God and your neighbor, this isn't normal. It isn't normal. Deep in my recent chaplain's residency, I was eating lunch with a young colleague. We were both feeling the emotional wounds of spending too much time in a level 1 trauma hospital. She looked up from her lunch and said, "Tell me this isn't normal." I felt the pain in her question, her need for better days. "No," I said, "this is not normal, and neither will it last." My words sounded like a mix of hope and lament. Jeremiah does a lot of lamenting. "Oh, that my head were a spring of water, and my eyes a fountain of tears, so that I might weep day and night for the slain of my poor people." Weeping for better days. I read an interview with a pastor. His congregation had just built a new sanctuary. They had windows in the sanctuary, but behind them were special lights that made it look like sunlight was flooding in at all hours. The pastor bragged, "We've designed our sanctuary to have no dark places, no dark corners. Even on a rainy day, it will be sunny in our sanctuary." There is a sadness in that for me. Life isn't about maintaining perpetually sunny days. Life is a journey of sunshine and easy rises. But life is also about dark and terribly stormy days and climbing difficult and dangerous stretches. Perhaps one's sanctuary should be allowed to reflect this. Surely one's faith should reflect this. We gather up so we can lean on one another as we sometimes sing, "Joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, opening to the sun above." But we also know there are days when we need to sing, "Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home." Jeremiah was a person who could respect the need for the kind of hope that allows persons to say, "My joy is gone, grief is upon me, my heart is sick. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there?" Those are the words of empathy. A fellow on my truck's radio was lamenting, "These days it's like there's a war on empathy. Anyone expressing empathy is immediately pigeonholed as being political or being weak or not understanding the situation." I wondered, why do people think being empathetic is about one's politics? Why don't folks just think that it's what it is to be a Christian? Have we become so separated from the teaching of Jesus we don't recognize empathy in Jesus' life? Recognize empathy as being near to the heart of God? John writes, God is love. God says to a sinful people, how can I put you away, O Ephraim? Jesus taught us, God so loved the world, he gave. The Gospels call Jesus Emmanuel, meaning God with us. Empathy. Years ago, a person stormed into my study and startled me. She said, I can't stand all these do-gooders. Doing good won't get you to heaven. I heard the Apostle James scratching on his papyrus pad, what good is faith without works? What good is it to say to your brother, go and be filled, go and be warm, and not provide food and water, winter coat? Then he bears down hard to write, faith without works is dead. She was saying, God save us from the do-gooders. And there we were, living a misguided life as each Sunday we prayed, God help us to do better. Oh well. A young girl came home and told her mother, after school my friend Emma took out her phone to call her mother. She dropped it. The case broke open and the phone was cracked. It would not call out. Emma started crying. I knelt down with her there on the ground in all those pieces of phone. Ah, said her mother, you tried to help her fix her phone. No, said the young girl, I tried to help Emma cry. Do-gooders. Empathizers. Notice we're not talking about fixers. Do-gooders can't always fix everything. I just like the way they show up. Empathy is not fixing. Not so much about being understood, but to understand. Jeremiah couldn't change all the carnage about to descend upon Judah, but he could weep with them, wait with them, remind them, no, this is not normal. It is not easy. It is not even fair. But hope is still coming. And we, as Jeremiah, may sit with others in this season and listen down the rail for the train bringing a better day. Amen.